Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about your day 1 of the foundation course. This day 1 course is divided into 10 different sections. In that we'll be talking about your section 8 now, which is quick rendering. We already looked into the basics of your rendering in your previous section. So now let's just directly focus on how we can take a quick daytime render. For that, first you need to set your camera viewport, or if you have already set the viewport and saved it, click on that. The camera will move back to that same point. And also ensure that your aspect ratio and resolution is set. If that scene allows for an outdoor HDR image, make sure that is also selected under environment tab. Once that is done, here under ambient lighting, click on the realistic category. Within realistic category, you have 3 different templates here: cool daylight, indoor daytime and indoor nighttime. If you want to take a quick daytime render, always select indoor daytime. Once that is selected, you can see that there is a blue outline along that template. Also, there will be a blue tick mark on the top right of that template. Once that is done, underneath you have something called brightness setting and effect setting. Click on the brightness setting and this will open up a tab here which contains 2 important settings. One is your indoor brightness, another one is your sunlight brightness. For a quick daytime render, kindly set your indoor brightness anywhere between 200 to 300. In this case, let me just set it to 200. And let your sunlight brightness always be 100%. Once that is done, now click on the effect setting here. This will open up your effect settings tab. There at first you will see something known as light leakage repair. Make sure that is always toggled on. This light leakage repair talks about your even dispersion of light in your co-lighting. Okay, so make sure that is always toggled. Then comes in your dazzling. For a quick daytime render, set the dazzling anywhere between 4 to 6. Let me just set it as 5. And for a daytime render, you can select the color enhancement either as standard or more beautiful, and always make sure that your light ambient blocking or ambient occlusion is always selected, and set the size of the AO anywhere between 0.5 to 0.6. Let me just set it as 0.5, and let the radius of the AO anywhere between 40 to 50 mm. Let me just set it as 50 mm. So once that is done, click on the advanced setting and kindly ensure your specular reflection and render complex materials toggled on. At the bottom you have something called generate. Click it. It will ask for a confirmation here. Click on confirm and now your scene will be rendered. So once this viewport is rendered, now we can click on the another saved viewport. Make sure that your resolution is proper and you can hit generate and click on confirm. And your rendering progress and completed render can be checked in your gallery, which is on top right of your screen. Click it. It will precisely show your current rendering progress and your estimated completion time for all the renders which are in progress. And once that is done, you can finally check with your outputs here. If you feel that the output here is a bit brighter, you can go exit this window and here click on the brightness setting. Just reduce the indoor brightness from 200 to 180 and again take a render and check with the output. Okay. This indoor brightness majorly controls the overall brightness of your ambience. Or in the render, if the space looks a bit dark, try to increase it. Okay, you can just from 200 try to increase it to 250 or something and check with the render whether that output is something that you are looking for. So this is how we can take a quick daytime render. So now let's just focus on how we can take a quick nighttime render. For that, make sure you select your indoor nighttime template here. And once it is selected, it will have a tick mark on the top right of the corner. Okay, and you will see brightness setting and effect setting underneath. Click on the brightness setting and here you will see something known as indoor brightness. For a quick nighttime render, set the indoor brightness anywhere between 150 to 200. In my case, I'm just setting it as 150 initially. And click on the effect setting now. It will open up your effect setting tab. Like I said before, make sure your light leakage repair is always toggled on. And for a quick nighttime render, let the dazzling be anywhere between 2 to 5. In this case, let me just set it as 3. And let the color enhancement for the nighttime render be always more beautiful. If you want, you can explore with standard, but for a nighttime render, more beautiful is always optimum. And also make sure that your light ambient blocking or your ambient occlusion is toggled on. Let the size of the AO be less than 0.5 mm for a quick nighttime render. Let me just set it as 0.4. And let the radius be less than 50 mm. I'm just setting it as 40 mm. Once that is done, just click on the advanced setting. Make sure your specular reflection and render complex material is selected. And now you can scroll down and check with your HDR image. See, before, since we selected a daytime template here, it will show you daytime HDR images. And now since we selected your nighttime template under ambient lighting, it will show you different nighttime HDR images. So this way you can select an HDR image which is precise to your requirement, or if you are looking for some other HDR image, click on more here. Just select something which is precise to your surrounding. Once that is done, just click on confirm. That HDR image will be applied. Or if you would like to upload your personal HDR image, you can still do that. For that, you have something called uploads here. Click it, and here you can click on upload the scene, and it will ask you to upload your own HDR image. Once it is uploaded, you will be able to use it for any of your projects, but make sure the HDR image what you're uploading is less than 20 MB. So once it is done, you can just click on generate, confirm, and your nighttime rendering for the progress system. You can do the same process with the another viewport as well. So now I followed the same process for the other viewports, and this is for the output which I get. So this one is for the living, for the bedroom, this one is from the dining room, another view of the dining, the living room shot, and your living room shot focusing on your TV units, and this one is the kitchen render. So these are all the quick daytime renders which I have taken for this project. Now let's just look into quick nighttime render. So this is the nighttime render of the same living room. Nighttime render of the bedroom, of the dining, focusing towards that piano region, of the complete dining, nighttime render of the living towards TV unit, and your nighttime render of your kitchen. So here you could notice that there is a drastic difference between a daytime and a nighttime render only in spaces which has that feasibility for the natural lighting to get inside that space, right? So that is why if you notice, you can precisely see the difference of a nighttime render and the daytime render of this dining region, because here you have more openings on the wall which allows for that light to penetrate. Same thing for this scene as well. This one is the daytime render and this one is the same viewport at nighttime. Okay, you can see the drastic difference in your daytime render where the influence of the natural lighting will dominate the space, but in your nighttime render where it is a completely artificial lit space. So here your artificial lighting will completely take the real here. But the difference of this viewport in nighttime versus the daytime will be minimal, right? Because the space doesn't have a feasibility to provide an opening. So the influence on the natural lighting in the space is minimal. So even though we took a daytime render, the artificial lighting is literally taking over the lighting for this entire space. And if you personally ask me, I would always recommend you to go for a daytime render compared to a nighttime render, because natural lighting has an innate tendency to make your renders much more realistic compared to an artificial lighting. So, and by this point, you would have had this question: how can I control the brightness of the lighting, right? How can I control the brightness, color of the lighting, and all those aspects you might be having, right? The thing is, in your quick render, you can't do any of it. I mean, that is the major intention behind the quick render, is to make the designer precisely take a render without spending so much time on setting up these parameters, right? So in your quick render, you can't control the lighting, its color, its influence, and all those aspects. That will be taken care by the template what you're selecting here. But the detailed and in-depth lighting control can be done in your real-time rendering, which is something that we'll be talking about in your later sessions. So with this, your section 8 of the day 1 foundation course is completed.